Welcome to the Hong Kong Academy for Performing Arts on this momentous occasion, in spite of the pandemic, to join us in this information webinar. Recently, we celebrated with tremendous pride the graduation of over 300 of our students, particularly for their dedication and commitment to their studies during this very difficult year of the pandemic. The mission of the Academy is to cultivate 21st century performing artists with an Asian heart and a global view. On this note, we welcome those very talented and potential performing artists to join our big family of passionate learners in this top performing arts academy in Asia and the world. The good news is, this year, as an encouragement to the top candidates, we are able to provide some of the candidates with full recruitment and encouragement scholarships that will cover their undergraduate tuition entirely. Please encourage those who are not applying to us yet this year to join our community as young friends and participate in projects and activities specially prepared for them to learn more about us and various performing arts disciplines. The Academy's approach to performing arts education is contemporary and up-to-date. For instance, the Academy has been actively incorporating arts technologies in the review of its programs recently to align them with major trends of integrating such technologies, particularly in interdisciplinary work within performing arts practices in the industry. We are endeavored to provide our students with the best education and opportunities in order for them to succeed, not just in pursuing an active performing arts career when they graduate, but a holistic education that prepares them for other career choices and challenges and become future contributors to the cultural landscape of Hong Kong and the region. Without further ado, let me pass you to Dr. Ricky Ng, who will introduce you to our deans to talk about the latest development of performing arts education. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Choi. As all we know, Cantonese opera is a very distinctive art form and is also one of Hong Kong's most received heritage. Over the last decade, it is noticed that there is an expansion of Cantonese opera audiences. With the increasingly number of younger audiences, how do we prepare a new generation of Cantonese opera performing artists, and how does innovative learning and teaching equip them to cope with the 21st century challenges? In the first plenary section, Professor Martin Lau, Dean School of Chinese Opera, will share his view with us. Professor Lau, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this virtual online forum. My name is Martin Lau. I'm the Dean of the School of Chinese Opera. And for today, I will be discussing a little bit about developing the 21st century Chinese opera performing artists. I'm going to begin by debunking a few myths about Chinese opera, Cantonese opera education, and then we're going to talk a little bit about us and our curriculum and what we hope our graduates will become when they leave our program. So as far as Cantonese opera myths, I'm going to debunk a few myths really quickly. Myth number one, the best way to learn Cantonese opera is through the master-apprentice model. Now, the traditional master-apprentice model included living with the master, and I think for every one of us, I think it would be an impossibility in today to imagine our students living with us to learn anything at all. So the question is, why the dichotomy? For institutions, we can actually be the best of both worlds. We can actually provide some of the best of the master-apprentice model, but at the same time, we can also offer things that a tertiary institution would have that a traditional teaching method might not. Myth number two, I can enter the Cantonese opera industry without tertiary education. Yes, sure, but with a tertiary education, you also get systematic foundation training, job readiness, alumni network, access to things that you may not get if you were to enter the industry by yourself. Myth number three, I don't think there's a high demand for a Cantonese opera performing artist. Well, that's definitely not true, and here are the facts. Every year, there are over 1,500 performances in Hong Kong in Cantonese opera, and the relative income of a Cantonese opera beginning entry-level work is higher than than most entry-level jobs. Also strong support and funding from different sources, such as the government, from donors, from the community. So if we look at these myths, then we understand that some things are only perceptions. As we look at ourselves, the School of Chinese Opera, how do we tackle this? Our mission is to aspire to provide students a platform to learn a traditional art form while enhancing the curriculum through innovative, interdisciplinary, and global focused education. Okay, that's great. We have a mission, but what does that mean exactly? We deliver an innovative and holistic curriculum for our cohorts as they develop into the 21st century Chinese opera performing artists. So through our curriculum, through our core programs, we nurture the new students in the educational ecosystem to allow them the opportunity to grow into a 21st century Chinese opera performing artist. So a brief look really at the programs that we offer at the School of Chinese Opera. We offer a BFA program in Chinese opera in both Cantonese opera music and performance. I want to stress this very importantly because most people, when they think of Cantonese opera performance, that's what they think of, right? Performance, the actor on stage. But the school actually has a performance and a music stream. So actually we have degrees in both Cantonese opera music and Cantonese opera performance. We also have an advanced diploma in Cantonese opera, as well as a diploma in Cantonese opera foundations. So on to what we teach. TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. Well, this is probably an easier way for us to remember, but it's not Friday today, but bear with me. So our curriculum, T stands for technology and innovation, G stands for gateway, I, interdisciplinarity, and F stands for foundation. So really quickly on technology and innovation. Exploring innovative technologies for data recording, student assessment, and enhancing the learner experience. So on this picture, you see one of our lecturers actually doing a demonstration on a motion capture. So to determine injury impacts and whatnot from acrobatics. We also use virtual reality in Cantonese opera, as well as, again, the motion capture there, to demonstrate, to attract interest, as well as show our students that there are different ways of presenting Cantonese opera. Really quickly, I'm going to show you what we affectionately call Jimmy. Jimmy is the skeleton on the right, actually. So this is a virtual reality, not a virtual reality, sorry, a motion capture of actual practice. And the little lines down there are impact points as well as statistics. So we are actually teaching and going to be assessing using technology such as motion capture and audio capture. Gateways. What do we mean by gateways? Providing access gateways for our cohorts to the industry, community through master classes, visiting artists, internships, community outreach, and global exchanges. This is an actual photo of two students that went to an internship at RTHK Radio. As part of their reflective practice, they actually had to present after the internship what they were doing there and what they learned there. So we can actually provide different opportunities such as this, and also master classes. A little promotion. Zhu Hengcheng, maestro. He will actually be at HKAPA on Saturday, this Saturday, for a master class for our students as well as alumni. It's open to the public. If you're interested, you're welcome to join us. Also visiting artists, Wen Fei Yin. On the bottom right, Sun Yim Long. You also see Wong Mingchun, Lisa Wang from Bat Wo. So we have very close connections with the industry. Also some more photos of community engagement. And on the top right-hand corner actually is a very interesting photo. This was actually a photo of a performance, a cultural outreach at an elementary school in Oberlin, USA. Oberlin is actually the home of the Oberlin Conservatoire, which is the oldest conservatoire in America. Our students actually went on a cultural exchange there to attend classes as well as share Cantonese opera to the world. Interdisciplinarity, a photo here of collaboration between the School of Chinese Opera and the School of Music. with Master Yun Xiu-Fei and with some new renditions of traditional pieces arranged through the School of Music. Also some photos of interdisciplinarity. The bottom right corner is a very interesting photo because it's actually an instructor from the School of Drama, an alumni from the School of Drama that actually teaches courses here for us at the School of Chinese Opera. Again, using technology. You see on the upper right-hand corner, streaming for our classes. And then, of course, back to basics, foundation. We deliver core Chinese opera foundation work using both traditional and, as you saw earlier, innovative pedagogical methods. So real quick, some pictures, and then I'm going to run a video for everybody to enjoy. Now, this is an interesting video because it shows our foundation work, but at the same time, it also the music was written and played by our music students. So please enjoy this. Don't try this at home. So our aspirations for our graduates. The School of Chinese Opera accepts applicants, and from there they enter our program. Into our program where through an innovative curriculum, we nurture them in an ecosystem that's designed for them to grow. From there, we hope as they graduate and leave the academy, they become the 21st century Chinese opera performing artists. And then at the same time, it goes both ways. As an alumni, they're also encouraged to come back to our big family and work with us and work with our students. So this is my presentation for today. Thank you everybody for your time, and I will now hand this off back to Dr. Ricky Ng.
Thank you, Professor Lau, for that very exciting introduction to Chinese opera program. This is where technology meets, the tradition. And believe me, I can never do what even Jimmy does, the bending and everything. And thank you so much, and I hope you guys all enjoyed this. And now I would like to introduce the School of Dance. The first thing is shall we dance? Okay, before we do that, I have to ask a few questions. Is dance only the movement of body in response to rhythm and music to express an idea or emotion, to release energy, or simply taking delight in the movement itself? Besides movement and aesthetics, what else do we need in dance? Can dance promote communications, nonverbal skills, problem solving, and team collaborations? Professor Anna C.Y. Chen, Dean School of Dance, will provide answers for the above and give us a chance to appreciate the beauty of dance. Professor Chen, please.
Thank you, Ricky. Good afternoon, principals, career masters, teachers, parents, art lover, it gives me a great honor this afternoon to share with you my passion for dance. To start, I would like to share a little secret with you. In my over 30 years of a professional dance career, first as a professional dancer, then a studio-based dance teacher, vice principal of one of the most prominent ballet schools in Hong Kong, then an educator, theater producer, programmer, art administrator, and academic leader. Until today, I think most of my dance and performing arts friends, and even some of my family members, including my mom, still have no clue how I can have a full-time career in dance and find it difficult to imagine what does this profession do. Many people still have no clue what it takes to build and train a dance artist, what the day-to-day looks like, or whether sustainability is possible. Because of the unknown, there are many misconceptions about dance as a profession. When I was a young dancer, people asked me what my full-time job is. I said, I'm a dancer. I would see a puzzle on their face, and then they would say, oh, yeah, but what's your real job? They assume dance is just a hobby and can't be a profession. Just because we spend all day behind doing physical activity rather than sitting in the office, some misconception will presume we are less intellectual, or put it bluntly, not academic smart. Being a good dancer requires intellectual intelligence, as well as physical fitness. For example, learning a choreography quickly, reversing a dance sequence, and timing movement to new music takes some serious brain power. Dancers don't just learn, they learn and acquire knowledge differently in comparison to the traditional norm of learning. Many students graduate from a degree program will have gone to further study in postgraduate and a doctorate degree. Is the dance profession always a short-lived career? Or you won't be able to make any money as a professional dancer? There aren't many jobs if you don't get into the big company. What do you do? The actual fact is, many of our alumni choose to become independent or portfolio career. They work in smaller companies, project-based, and even more commercial jobs. Look at this beautiful stage performance photo. That's the Academy produced. Apart from the aesthetic and dance movements that we prepare our students to be as a dancer and choreographer through the very nature of this unique training, there's a range of career paths and job opportunities for dance graduates. This is an image of a dance production. There are many people involved before, during, and after the production to realize this work on stage. This is what I refer to as the ecology of performing arts industry. Many of the jobs and careers inside the two circles are listed here are artists that the Academy focus on nurturing for the industry. Our graduates will mostly end up having jobs and employment in this area of stage production. However, the whole ecology is bigger than performance and production. For example, some graduates will choose to work in community as teachers, instructors, or movement therapists. Some of my graduates would like to be a programmer for theater, venues, and festival office, or they would like to work for funding organizations to support artists and art development. Some choose to focus on audience development and engagement projects, or even some would like to be a cultural policy researcher. Therefore, all the dance programs offered by the School of Dance focus on preparing our students and equipping them with skills and current knowledge to meet the evolving nature of the dance industry and expanding the horizon of career options within and beyond dance. While we prepare our dancers to go out into the performance world, ready to be challenged, the uniqueness of the APA program is the breadth of knowledge that we offer to our students. That include liberal arts studies, academic studies, and other key areas in dance, such as dance pedagogy, dance creation, and dance science. We also prepare our students with other life skills, such as writing, public speaking, problem solving, all contribute to developing them as an all-rounded artist. Our dance program is onward and forward-looking. Today's world is undeniable digital. See, that's how we meet today. And our students are digital age learners. In our dance program, students have plenty of opportunities to learn dance, to create dance, and to analyze movement, incorporating digital technology. Here is some example how technology integrates with dance. We also guide our students to make dance performance beyond the traditional stage performance. For example, choreographing dance on screens. Here is another example of work choreographed by some of our alumni. In our curriculum, we place a strong emphasis on safe dance practice and wellness. Our program integrates principles from the dance sciences, including understanding the body and mind through learning about anatomy, biomechanics, nutrition, exercise physiology, dance psychology, motor learning, conditioning, and body therapy practice. We aim to improve our students' self-awareness and help them to develop a healthy and longevity career in dance. Increasingly, educators like you, employers, and even youth themselves are finding that for young people to succeed in today's rapidly changing and globalized world, they need an educational foundation that includes more than just technical skill. Do you know many of these valuable life skills that can be learned from taking dance as a profession? Dance artists are resilient people. Flexibility. That is not just about physically flexible. It is the emotional, social, cognitive flexibility needed to be a dance artist that is more important than the physical. Problem solving and decision-making skills require us to react and respond quickly. A thick skin and perseverance. We take criticism or rejection personally, but we recover gracefully, challenging ourselves to improve instead. Dancing is hard. Like extreme sports, you have to work at it, spending hours in the studio, perfecting your craft. There are no shortcuts to success, so persistence and self-discipline is the side effect of our training. We need to have intense concentration skills and teamwork mentality. It requires everyone to be a valuable player in group performance. That nobody looks good unless everyone looks good. Accountability. In training, we learn quickly that others relies on us, and we are accountable to fulfill our role with unwavering dedication. It taught us the value of keeping commitments, for example, showing up on time for rehearsal and performance. Creativity. Dance gives us the ability to innovate, think outside the box, and approach problems in creative ways. Attention to detail. We are training to observe with our eyes, ears, and kinesthetic sense. Passion. We learn to devote time, energy, resources to the thing that we love. We're inspired, and we strive to inspire others. I have found many of my students can transfer these valuable life skills and engage constructively in civic life and any jobs they transfer to. So, thank you for listening. To end, I would like to show a video from the School of Dance.
Thank you, Professor Chan, for the amazing video clips, and also the faculties and the students and the dancers. And after Professor's introduction to dance, I realized that dance is a matter of body, mind, and soul. And the career is very long, and there are a lot of different competences that student needs to learn during the program. After that, I will introduce School of Drama. I think everybody loves storytelling. I still recall that when I was born, my father and mother, they told me bedside story, but I'm doubt that whether your partners will tell you bedside story these days. Okay, from the Greek epic theater to contemporary theater, drama brings us tears and joy, laughter and sorrow, and even love and hate. However, what are the recent developments on drama and theater making in Hong Kong and the nearby region? And how do those collaborations provide opportunities to young people to unleash their talents? Ms. Estella Wong, Associate Dean, School of Drama, will share with us the forthcoming development and exciting opportunities in theater making. Ms. Wong, please.
Thank you, Ricky. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very glad to be able to talk to you today about one of the most exciting creative industries in Hong Kong, drama. Since 2017, the School of Drama has been talking to different stakeholders, referencing different models, surveys, and studies to come up with a new drama curriculum to cater for the needs of our future theatre makers. Our Dean of the School of Drama, Professor Poon Wai Sum, put it nicely. Theatre professionals today need depth and breadth. They must be specialized in their respective fields, yet armed with a broad knowledge base and a sweeping vision. Comprehensive training allows them to create their own unique worlds. In the next 10 minutes, I will share with you some essential aspects we consider vital to future theatre makers and how our curriculum embraces them. First of all, holistic training. When I was a secondary school student many decades ago, I used to think that there were only 3 positions in the drama world, namely playwright, director, and actor. But of course, the spectrum of a drama career is much wider and diversified than that. In our new curriculum, we have expanded our existing 2 majors, acting and directing, by adding 3 new majors to offer students a more holistic professional training. They are acting for musical, applied theater, and dramaturgy. Let me briefly introduce them to you. New major number 1, acting for musical. Apart from the training of acting, singing, and dancing, this exciting new curriculum also puts emphasis on ways of storytelling. Thorough understanding of the nature, history, and development of musical performance will enable students to have a better understanding of the playwrights and composers in the world. As more large-scale performance venues are built in the West Kowloon District, the mainland, and other places in Asia, we can foresee the vast demand of a new musical theater works and skillful performers. Potential students in this new major have to be talented and passionate in musicals. They must also be very hardworking and willing to commit themselves to years of blood and sweat to achieve the very high artistic standards set by the school. New major number 2, applied theater. Applied theater is an umbrella term for the application of drama approaches to working with different target groups in educational and communal settings. In the recent survey, applied theater is the 2nd largest sector of work that our graduates engage themselves in. The demand is obviously very high. The interdisciplinary nature of applied theater is manifested in its many forms and rationales, such as theater in education, process drama, foreign theater, and drama therapy. Empowerment is the heart of applied theater work, and usually the audience does not just sit back and watch, but participates in the process and has ownership of the artwork. Love of theater is crucial for potential students, but social consciousness, caring for the society, and a wish to give voice to the unvoiced are equally important. Students will be equipped with professional theater knowledge and skills, as well as those of education, psychology, ethnography, and cultural studies. New major number 3, dramaturgy. Dramaturgy originated in the 18th century Germany. It is very well developed in Europe and the US, but is relatively new in Hong Kong. The school's unique dramaturgy curriculum is not totally the same as those offered elsewhere, which focus mainly in literature, but to incorporate international collaborations across disciplines, professional fields, and cultures. The dramaturg is sometimes described as the director's 2nd pair of eyes, assisting the director to deepen and contextualize a work from various angles. This dramaturgy involves much more than a series of tasks, but also the right mindset and vision. Potential students in dramaturgy should be able to work with different creative teams and collaborators. The program covers interdisciplinary and cross-cultural theater production, curation, and performance text creation to prepare students for their multi-directional career. Our new holistic curriculum offers students a comprehensive training in all aspects of theater. A renowned scholar described that the new generation of theater makers does not occupy only one definition of the existing professional profiles as actor, writer, director, designer, composer, choreographer. Instead, they usually take on more than one of these roles in an integrated way. Our students from all 5 majors will share a common curriculum in the first year so that they can learn the essential concepts of each specialization. They will also be collaborating in various projects throughout their studies. This flexibility will definitely increase their competitiveness in the field. The second essential aspect, which is vital to our future theatre makers, is entrepreneurship. Theatre makers should not be waiting passively for jobs, but proactively create and develop their own career. Across all 5 majors in our new curriculum, we have built-in internships and modules for students to explore the industry in authentic settings. The third aspect is interdisciplinarity. Theatre is a global trend of working across different disciplines, such as between art forms or between art and non-art disciplines. It opens up a huge number of possibilities for theatre makers to expand their careers. The school sees the interdisciplinary skills as highly transferable and demanded in a globalized working context. To conclude, our future theatre makers will enjoy a more proactive and flexible identity through our renewed curriculum, emphasizing on holistic training, entrepreneurship, and interdisciplinary collaborations. As educators, we all care about our young generation. You can help to identify their drama talents and show them the new pathway to develop their unique strengths. Thank you for spreading the word.
Thank you, Estella. Some said life is a drama, but after Estella's explanation of the development and new aspect in dramas, I think drama is larger than life. Thank you, Estella, again. Okay, now I would like to introduce School of Film and Television. In this digital and technology hype era, screen reading provides us information, entertainment, as well as communications. Nowadays, we are attached or even addicted to screens, disregarding sizes, especially those on our mobile phone. We will look at it every minute, 24/7. Indeed, the production of content for screens is a series of discrete processes that begin with creative concept to technological production. Professor Geoffrey Stitt, Dean School of Film and Television, will show us the latest screen production process in the 21st century and share his experiences of nurturing students for the industry. Professor Stitt, please.
Thank you very much, Ricky. Hello, everybody. Good to see you here this afternoon. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up some of the slides now. If you could cue up some of my first slide, thanks. So what I'm going to talk about is film production in the 21st century, or what I tend to refer to more these days as screen production and screen education that we provide here in the School of Film and Television in the Hong Kong Academy for Performing Arts. So what I've done here on the first slide is I'm given a bit of an overview of what I'm going to cover in this short presentation today. I'm going to start out with a couple of questions. Why should you encourage your students and your parents of students, that maybe an education, a screen education, or an education in film or media production might be something that is useful for them, and it might be something that they can lead to a career in the future. So that's a question I'm going to throw out there. I'm going to throw out another question as well, something to do with virtual reality. You might have heard about virtual reality. Is virtual reality going to replace cinema? So I'll get to deal with that a little bit later in the presentation. We've got the pandemic at the moment. During the past year or two, some quite profound things have started to happen in the screen industries internationally. In the past year, we've probably noticed that the film industry in China has probably become the leading film industry in the world. It's probably definitely overtaken the Bollywood, the Indian film industry, and probably the Hollywood film industry as well. What I've been doing is I've been gathering some information, some statistical information over the past couple of days that pretty clearly indicate that this is happening. However, statistics are always problematic, and particularly at this moment when we've got the pandemic operating around the globe, not all industries are operating on the same level playing field. So the statistics may be a little bit wary, but it seems to be fairly indicative that the China film industry is now the major film industry on this planet. What we do in the School of Film and Television is we deal with mainstream cinema, art cinema. We also deal with documentaries. We deal with screenwriting. We deal with series, and we deal a lot with short film making. So we teach the students to make short films. Our process in the School of Film and Television is very much experiential. So we're very production driven. We want students to make things, to work, to use tools, to come up with ideas and to work out how to get their ideas, how to transfer their ideas from in their head onto a screen for an audience, for a particular audience, for a target audience. But I want to look at a little bit, if we could go to the next slide, please, which I'm going to do myself. I've just grabbed some of these quotations from various sources over the last couple of weekends. So what we're looking here is that the film and television industry is really being led these days by the games industry, by the video games industry. The games industry is a huge industry. And a lot of the innovations that happen in terms of communicating with audiences, of telling stories, are being developed and driven by the games industry and then fed down to television, drama production, even documentary production, and certainly mainstream cinema production. So the games industry is the big driver, the big motivator in the whole media space. Out of that, you'll see that despite the pandemic, the US box office has been fairly healthy, 5.6 million in March 2021 in the box office. So in spite of the pandemic, with a lot of cinemas closed down, we are seeing a lot of box office happening. Thank you. I will hold this microphone as well. So we're seeing a lot of box office still strong in the US, but we're seeing that the Chinese box office has been particularly strong. I pulled out some of the figures for not the last weekend, not the weekend that's just passed, but the weekend before this, and the three highest grossing films, mainstream cinema films in the world globally, were a film called Hi Mum, a film called Chinatown Detective 3, and then a film called Kong versus Godzilla, or is it Godzilla versus Kong? But anyway, they were the three highest grossing films in the world, and the first two of those are all China mainland productions. So the box office success right at the moment, right up to date, right as of now, is being driven by films that are made in China, producing the greatest amount of income, the greatest number of people looking at the screen in mainstream cinema is happening in China. So this is a snapshot of some of the information that I've pulled together. And to summarize some of this information, you can see that, that I've put a slide there basically summarizing what we're talking about here. The real takeaway from this is that the China box office is something that's really surging ahead. So to answer that question about, are there viable careers? Is screen education, is screen production, is film production across all of its different types and genres, is it something that's going to be a viable industry for students to start studying now and looking ahead across the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? And I think fairly clearly the answer is yes. We've seen that in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is a city that has a rich tradition, a very proud tradition of filmmaking, and that tradition still puts Hong Kong in a great position to be able to produce various filmmakers, various cinematographers, directors, post-production, visual effects, animators, that can all feed into the wider boom in film production that's happening right across China. So this is a pretty remarkable situation. It's a great opportunity and a great time if you were a young student and you were interested in telling stories, in visual storytelling, and using sound and image or music, and indeed performing arts to contribute towards screen production, then this is a great moment to be in Hong Kong and to be learning these kinds of skills, because absolutely, definitely, there's a booming industry that's developing right around Hong Kong, and there's no reason that people receiving the education in Hong Kong can go on to do very well in the future. So I think that particular question is pretty easy to wrap up. Our experiential teaching and curriculum focus, production-driven focus in the School of Film and Television is something that's we've been looking at very carefully recently, and we've done a very thorough curriculum review. Within the Academy, we've just come off a major external review, and we have designed some new aspects of our curriculum, and one of the outcomes of that is something that we call the Screen Production and Research Centre, or we call that SPARC. All new first-year students will be learning animation, will be learning digital media, and will be learning things like virtual reality in the first year when they arrive in the school. And they'll be working within the SPARC Centre within the Wan Chai campus. So we want all the students, all new students will be getting a very thorough grounding in all of the real new, innovative, digital media tools, and virtual reality will be at the centerpiece of that, particularly in an academy for performing arts. We're very interested in virtual reality because the virtual reality is something that's very interesting. It's been very interesting for 5 or 6 years. It remains something that's very interesting, but the area that's of greatest interest to us in the School of Film and Television is that virtual reality provides neither a stage nor a screen. It's an entirely new space providing new opportunities to create and recreate new aesthetics, new ways of telling stories, new ways of interacting with an audience. And that's why we think virtual reality is something that we're paying very close attention to, and right from the very beginning, all new students will start to become familiar with how they can work within virtual reality. So thanks very much. My name's Geoffrey Stitt. I'm the Dean of the School of Film and Television, and I'll say goodbye. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Professor Stitt. With all those like new development, technology development enhancement, which is VR, the XR, and the new market, and the new development of programs, together with the transition of Hong Kong film industry, I'm sure that the screen production in Hong Kong will have a very bright future. And now let me introduce School of Music. Music industry always appreciate prodigies and talent performers. However, in this competitive sector, being able to compose, recite, and conduct well may not enough to make waves and wave. A new skill set, entrepreneurship, open up musicians' mind and enable them to become cultural leaders, master of their own path, as well as reflective practitioner to extend the talent beyond the music abilities. Professor Sharon Choa, Dean of Music School, will share with us her idea of the musician, artist as entrepreneur. Professor Choa, please.
Hello. Welcome everybody who is out there. I'm sorry I can't see you, but I hope you can see me. So, we have called today's talk The Musician Artist as Entrepreneur. So, what does that mean? So, in the title, there are actually three important concepts: the musician, the artist, and the entrepreneur. So in this short talk, I would like to explain how we connect these three concepts to guide our students through their training here. This triangular link between musician, artist, and entrepreneur represents the essence of our educational philosophy. So first, the musician. The School of Music at APA is committed first and foremost to training students to become top-rank musicians. Whether you are an instrumentalist, a vocalist, or a composer, we make sure that you receive the best musical training that is comparable to that offered by any top conservatoire in the world. After all, we're in the current QS ranking by subject, we are ranked 10th in the world and first in Asia. For this, we have a team of internationally renowned teaching faculty. You need only to check out our website to find out who they are. Not only do we have some of the best instrumental, vocal, and composition teachers, the faculty teaching contextual studies such as music history, oral skills, music theory, music analysis, are all first-rank educators who are committed to developing our students' musicianship. So now we come to the artist. So training to be a solid musician and performer is our first goal, and perhaps we can say the first layer of training. But at the same time, the student would be guided to develop themselves to be an artist. By this, we mean that we aim to open our students' minds to all kinds of artistic creativity, and not be so that they are not blinkered musicians, restricting their interests only to music and blind to any other art forms, let alone the rest of the world. So we are best placed in APA to do this, because aside from the School of Music, we have 5 other schools specializing in 5 other art disciplines under the same roof. Our students are constantly exposed to performance activities by those in other schools, and we encourage students as part of our curriculum to collaborate with students in other schools in productions and performance projects. These opportunities are rarely found in other music conservatoires, and particularly rare that collaborations across schools are embedded in our curricula. In other words, it is a requirement for our students to open their minds, reach out to artistic endeavors beyond music, and gain an even deeper understanding of music through the eyes of other art forms. In doing so, they hone their creativity and artistic potential and grow to become artists in their own right. While it is of foremost importance that we train our students to be excellent musicians and artists, it is of equal importance that we guide them in how to apply these acquired skills in their professional lives. This is where entrepreneurship comes into play. By entrepreneurship, we do not mean business training or arts administration. Rather, we mean a kind of training to guide the student to gain self-knowledge, to fully understand their individual potential, where their passion truly lies, and then to apply this knowledge to carve their individual, unique career path and life path. We care about our students, how they manage themselves in the professional world in the next 40 years, not only in the 4 years of their degree course. In doing so, they would also gain a clear understanding of what their educational needs are, while they are still studying at APA, and they would be much more informed when choosing electives for their studies and be more engaged in everything we offer within our curricula. To give a few examples of what we mean by guiding students to bring out their best potential and utilize their true passion, there are students who have been through our creative entrepreneurship course who discovered, for instance, that they are natural leaders, and we have encouraged them to form their own individual unique ensembles, performing repertoire that are close to their hearts, not something prescribed by their teachers or the syllabus. And that happens while they are still students here, even before they leave the APA. Others have discovered that besides being an excellent musician, they are also excellent visual artists and have devised unusual means of presenting their performances, combining their own playing with their drawings. Some may have strong aspirations to sustain a performing career as soloists or chamber musicians. But even for these students, they need to learn to manage themselves, to plan every step of their development, as well as learn to promote themselves in the right way. Many unique projects have been created as a result of the entrepreneurship courses. Even if students cannot or have not implemented their projects professionally when they graduated, they would have had their minds opened to many more possibilities of career pathways that are true to their own heart. In short, our entrepreneurship courses are designed to support students in acquiring the skills to make that vital transition from studentship to a professional life. We recognize the need for every student to start preparing him or herself while they're studying here to meet future challenges by unlocking their individual potential, finding their audience, and realizing their dreams. From the academic year 2022 to 23 onwards, this course will be offered to all students within the music school. This completes the idea of the musician artist as entrepreneur. We would like to suggest that this is how we nurture our talented young musicians at APA. The education is holistic, helping them grow not only musically and artistically, but also to grow to become confident, fulfilled individuals who are clear about their own goals, their own vision, their own paths, and who are able to be fully responsible for their own future, and from there to contribute to the society and to others. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Professor Choa. The speech is very interesting. It talks something beyond music, which is, a music school didn't talk something beyond music. If I ever had this speech 40 years earlier, I'll become a very successful entrepreneur. And now I'll try very hard to live for another 40 years to become one. Thank you, Professor Choa, again. And now, it comes to our last plenary sections. It is always interesting to look behind the screens and see what made the theatre happen. A range of knowledge, technical skills, planning and management are needed to make a production come to life. Backstage in modern theatre requires the most advanced technology together with traditional craft and tools to make the impossible possible. May I introduce Mr. Ben Sumner, Dean, School of Theatre and Entertainment Arts, to lead us to the backstage and unveil his magic factory. Mr. Sumner, please.
Hello, my name's Ben Sumner, and I'm the Dean of the School of Theatre and Entertainment Arts here at the Academy for Performing Arts. And I'm going to talk to you today about making theatre happen and how your students may be able to contribute to that. Take a look at the credits in any theatre programme. The production team is far larger than the cast and represents a hugely diverse range of skills. In order to stage any form of theatrical event, there will need to be contribution from designers, makers, technicians and managers. The planning and construction of a production may begin many months, even years before the performance, which itself may only have a very short life of just a few weeks or years. Any project can be divided into 5 stages, none of which can be started until the previous one is complete. I'm going to briefly talk through those 5 stages which must be completed in order to make theatre happen. They can be summarised as the idea, the design, the build, the rehearsal, and the performance. First of all, let's look at the idea. Any production will start with an idea. Initially, the idea is developed through discussion between a director and a designer. Depending on the type of production, various different designers will be involved, typically starting with the physical structure and the scenery, and then building up the environment in which the performer will be seen by discussing costume, lighting and sound. Each element is usually designed by a different member of the team. With the development and introduction of new technology, video is becoming more and more common, and as we've seen particularly in the last year, virtual reality is being considered a natural area for theatre to explore. Another designer will take on this aspect. Next, let's consider the design. The creative team of director and designers will develop the concept until it reaches a point where a reality check is needed. At this point, draft designs need to be committed to paper so that they can be costed and risk assessed by the team responsible for realising those designs. This will involve scale drawings, models of the stage and scenery, illustrations of costumes, preferably with fabric samples, and 3D visualizations of lighting and projection ideas. Costume supervisors, construction managers, chief electricians, technical directors, sound engineers, prop makers and scenic artists will all be brought into the discussion to go over the designs in detail. Their work will be coordinated by the production manager, who takes overall responsibility for budgeting and scheduling the production. Before anyone has even walked into the theatre, every element of the performance will have been planned in detail. For example, every piece of costume will have been carefully considered, perhaps for historical accuracy, perhaps for practicality where particular movement is required, and certainly for its aesthetic balance with every other visual element on the stage. Each decision made about a costume impacts on a decision made about the lighting, and vice versa. Both lighting and costume have a huge influence on how the set is perceived. Similarly, every piece of furniture and every prop must fit. It must be of the correct time period. Its colour and proportion must complement the scenic environment, and most importantly, it must practically achieve what is needed by the performer who is interacting with it. Once the production manager is satisfied that the designs are realistically achievable in terms of cost, time and safety, the final designs can be prepared. The build. Once the designs have been finalised, the performers will begin rehearsing in a rehearsal room, and the work of construction can begin. Frequently, performer rehearsals and construction will happen simultaneously, and clearly it's essential that the various workshops are aware of how each element will be used, and it's the job of the stage management team to ensure that every development in the rehearsal room is communicated back to the appropriate workshop manager, designer or technician. As rehearsals continue and develop, there will be inevitable changes to the way costumes or props are going to be used, and these changes must be checked for cost, time and safety. For every element, be it costume, scenery or props, its journey from the wings to the stage and back again is planned in detail. Scale models and drawings must be examined closely to ensure that when the moment comes to put everything onto the stage, it will all interlock and function like a well-oiled machine. At the same time, costs need to be continually monitored to ensure that the production remains within budget. That coordination is the responsibility of the production manager, who oversees the entire technical process. The production manager must also coordinate the activity of each department so that their work is completed at precisely the right moment. For example, A piece of scenery once designed and risk assessed for safety must be built in the workshops before moving on to the paint shop where scenic artists will get to work. If it arrives too soon, the paint shop will become overloaded. Too late, and the scenic artists are left idle. The rehearsals. When all the scenery has been built and painted and lighting, sound and video equipment assembled, the production can begin to move on to the stage. Scenery will be transported to the theatre, where it will be rigged by a team of technicians under the guidance of the technical director. Once again, it must arrive on stage at exactly the right moment. Every hour of stage time is carefully planned, as venue costs are always a consideration, and the stage must never be left idle. The production manager will have prepared a schedule so that each element of preparation is perfectly coordinated. Lights are rigged, scenery assembled, sound systems installed, and costumes prepared in the dressing rooms. Once every element has been put in place on the stage, and the dancers and actors have developed their performance as far as it can in the rehearsal room, it's time to begin rehearsals on stage. At this point, the stage manager takes charge of the stage and coordinates the performers and the technical elements. The first rehearsals are slow and painstaking, as every technical detail is worked through. The performers and technicians must work through every scenic movement, every costume change, every lighting and sound cue, and assure themselves that everyone is confident of their role and that every risk has been carefully considered. Once technical rehearsals have been completed, the dress rehearsals can begin. At this point, the production is finally run through without stopping, and with full costume, scenery, lighting, props and sound effects. This is the moment when the director and designers can finally see where concept fully realized on stage and fine-tuning can be undertaken. Typically, there will be 2 or 3 dress rehearsals in the final days before the first performance. The performance. During the performances, the creative team and production manager generally step back, and the production is left in the hands of the stage manager, who will be responsible for coordinating the work of the performers, the stage crew, lighting operators, costume and makeup department, and so on. Few people understand how much is involved in making a piece of theatre. So many different skills are needed to make a production come to life, and wherever a person's talents may lie, whether they're interested in engineering and construction, art and design, music and maths, or planning and organising, there is always a place for them backstage. Please join us for the Q&A to find out how any of your students can find a career making theatre happen. And thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Sumner. Isn't that amazing to see all these people, all this talent work on a very tight schedule professionally and pay attention to every single detail and step to make a perfect production?